How you doing, everyone? Hey, Dominic. Uh, Dominic, I was just working on this after later on. I've been waiting for this. What's it called? A balance cock holder is what you do is that you take the. I have to remove the balance cock, take it out along with the spring and the balance, and put it on this special pokey thing they have. But in the meantime, I was working on this. I think it's the size of it's going to be 10 millimeters by centimeters by 6 centimeters. I'll talk to you about it later. I'm still waiting. Like I said, I'm waiting for my Amazon delivery with that in it. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Richard, I think they're just going the AP path, wanting to own their own boutiques. Uh, a lot of places are doing that. Let's talk about why. Hey, neighbor, how you doing? Today we got a nice day. Hey, Richard, what you got? Oh, okay. I only have one Rolex, so well, you got one more than I've got. Oh, you got on your lawn jeans A7. Cool. No date sub. Those are apparently that's from what I understand, Richard. Um, they're supposed to be a fairly favored one. The one with they're black, right? This hat. I got this is. I swear this is the only hat I've ever got in my life that's too big for me. Anyway, okay, let's talk about this. We've got here. Rolex bought Bucherer, I believe is how you pronounce it. Hi, Freddie. Um, and here's what let me provide the context of what I'm trying to figure out here. Um, Rolex has the most successful watch company in the world, I think. They make the most money. They have waiting lists for people who want at least certain models of their watches, and they have a network of ADs set up. And so I'm sort of wondering now, Butcher, I don't think they're not very big in the U.S. and I don't even know if they have them in Asia at all, but they're big in Europe. And while Europe buys a lot of watches, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Somebody mentioned they're trying to do what Audemars Piguet has done, and also FP Journe and possibly other brands, and that is that they want to sell everything through a boutique. Well, why would they want to sell it through a boutique? Somebody said, I think it was Archie of all people, said that he had some kind of secret information that Patek Philippe's ADs had this were given a price that was essentially their markup was 100%. So if you bought a watch for $20,000, the dealer got it for 10,000. So you got a pretty good markup there for the. I mean, it's very profitable for the person selling the watch. And I think that some bean counters at Rolex figured, they just sort of looked at that money on wings flying out the window because all these guys were doing. And I think Audemars Piguet and FP Journe were thinking the same thing. But especially with FP Journe, I'm not sure. I mean, boutiques, you have to have, the brick and mortar and do all of this other stuff with it. And like the ones they have in New York, is near in the financial district. I don't know what the nut's going to be on that monthly, but they have people working for them and doing all these other things. maybe it's worth it to have a boutique of your own rather than having a corner of somebody else's shop. But I thought, well, let's talk about that. Okay. Hi, DeMarco. Oh, okay. Butcher owns 110 stores. Thank you, Alexander. The independent authorized dealers have pretty large investments in their stores. I think this is shaking them up. I think so too. I agree. I think I don't know. I think I think your point, Dominic, is probably one. I keep looking at this is that okay, so you got 110 stores in Europe. I don't even know if they have any over here in the US. And I don't know if they have any in Asia either. Primarily the primary markets there are Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia. There's not I mean, and those are huge markets. I mean, they're really big. And so this is the kind of thing I'm trying to figure out. Is it really worth that kind of investment? Do they really gain that much more for suddenly they're taking over and they're paying the rent and everything else? And I don't know. Um, all the Nautilus are never available in shop, but plenty of them are on secondary market. AD working with gray market sellers. Secondary markets, yes. Uh, hey, watch Mike. Bucherer in Lucerne is where I fell in love with watches back in 1988. Fell in love with watches back in 1988. Oh, they have one in New York. Okay, I I didn't know that. I'll have to visit it. I thought Bucherer just bought. Oh, yeah, they may have Tournay. They may have bought Tournay, but Tournay isn't. See, here's the thing that I'm. So I guess I'd be curious about. Um, Omega and several other manufacturers set up their own online store. And the online is much more economical in just about every way possible. First of all, you reach a far wider audience, literally billions of people. With a place, you could have a place, in greater downtown Bloomfield, and you could still reach the same number of people that someone in uh, Beijing could reach. I mean, there's that's the internet, and that's sort of, I suppose, why I'm wondering. I think the role of the retail store, I suppose, is to get people to go in and look at stuff. But look what happened to Barnes and Noble and Tower Books. Uh, I used to go into Barnes and Noble, find out books I wanted, and then I'd order them online from Amazon. And so now you just have a handful of Barnes and Noble. And I actually go into Barnes and Noble and will buy books just to keep them so they'll have, making something. But for the most part, I'll just go to Amazon and find the books that I want. Now, the same thing is true. I think the great majority of the watches I bought online. Uh, and I'm trying to think from dealers. I got my Hovering 2 from a dealer, from an AD. I got my Harry Winston, but it was pre-owned, but it was from a Harry Winston AD. But most of them I just get from somebody else. And this is why, I'm sort of wondering, Rolex, I know, wants to really control things, but they can control it. All they got to do is open up a website. And, right now, the thing about Rolex that I do like is that if you go to the Rolex place, they have all of the list prices there, the manufacturer suggested price. And I have, you know, they have all of this network and all of this other stuff. But, you know, I think one of the other things that they have that's more important than an AD is our authorized watch people. In other words, some authorized service centers. I believe that that's one thing that we have near where we are over West Hartford, where their biggest brand or the most important one used to be Patek Philippe, but they sent it back to their main store. So they sell Rolexes and some other things. But the big draw on that store is that they have a guy working there, young guy, who does the servicing. He has a certificate or degree or whatever from the Rolex, whatever their school or institute's called. So that's sort of an interesting kind of thing. I don't know if that's, I knew a guy who was an authorized Rolex service guy, and he told me, boy, I said, you got to be very careful, because if they catch you like using, cheap parts or something like that, that's it for your contract. Okay, let's see what else you got. I thought Bucherer just, okay, yeah, they may have. I actually quite happy with Rolex choosing Bucherer. The allocation system in my country is all messed up due to crummy retailers backdooring watches. Okay, our HRM, that would be, this is one thing I never think they do it for the good of the customer. All right, that's just an assumption. And it's not a crybaby assumption. It's just an assumption like they want it for the good of the customer, so it makes it easier for the customer to buy as much from them as possible at the lowest amount of overhead. And this is why I'm still a little confused about the bricks and mortar stuff, setting up a boutique anywhere. Okay, let's see what else you got. Ray Kroc, you're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate business. Yeah, good old Ray Kroc. I had a friend whose son worked on Ray Kroc's boat after he died in San Diego. And she was really just a super cool woman. She had been I forgot, something like a dancer or a singer or something like that. And man, now they got a boat the size of the Titanic. Let's see. Only two companies that can allocate watches for Rolex in the Netherlands. Both sell brand new watches on the gray market. Well, see, this is on the secondary market. That to me is the best place to get the best buy, is on the secondary market, where they have watches that are better than the public seems to think they are, and so they discount them. You can get them some great prices. This happened for a while before the pandemic with H. Mosers and Parmigianis, not to mention Roger Dubuis and Daniel Roth watches. Now all of them have just gone up. And so again, going back, I mean, it's like, I guess I'm glad to hear what it's a good thing for the Netherlands, not because it's good, period, but because all of the other retailers are sort of screwed up. Okay. They were the launch for the CPO program. Dominic, I hate to advertise my ignorance too much, but what is the CPO program? Hey, Junior. Oh, no, Jack. Was it? I've had good and bad with Chrono 24. The bad part is that I don't like the fact that they add their own little cut to the sales tax. I mean, it's a Connecticut has like 6% sales tax. It's not too bad, and but you end up paying 7% or 7.5% just because of them. I want to hear about that bad experience you had. Certified pre-owned. Ah, okay. Thanks, Dominic. Uh, Jack. Tell us about your horrible buying experience with Chrono 24. What happened? Ah, oh, okay. Hey, thanks, Brian. I didn't know that. The avenues on of America. Let me tell you something. If you're in New York, refer to it as Sixth Avenue. Wow, they got two on Madison. Well, maybe they took over the old Tournay stores because they used to have their store on Sixth Avenue on Madison that I remember. Hey, Oliver. People seem to forget that Bucherer and Wisdorf knew each other and somehow helped each other. Bucherer is now under the foundation umbrella, which I think is what Buchner wanted. Ah, okay. Thank you. Hey, Mark. Chrono 24 permits new with box and papers to be meaningless. A blank warranty card and none of the other original literature and Chrono 24 back to dealer. I got to tell you, boxes and papers never bothered me. Maybe they should have more, but they never have. The reason it's a lot easier to fake documents than it is a watch. All right, people worry about is a watch real or not? Yeah, that's important, but it was the documents. They're so easy to fake. I mean, I got a color laser printer. I'll cook up something for everybody. Um, it's nice to have them, I admit, but you know, you can have them. I had to take my I got the Chanel Monsieur. Now that watch is I went to New York. I took it to I had to go to they had like three Chanel stores. I think three of them were on Fifth Avenue, but I had to go to the one on 57th Street right off of Fifth. And then you go up, they took me up to the sixth floor all by myself. Me and my friend both went up. There was nobody there. We went into this empty room, and this woman came out who turned out to be super competent and said that they're going to have, for service, they're going to have to send the watch off to Switzerland. It'll be about 6 months. I sort of figured on that, so I wasn't surprised. But, you know, if I had the little warranty card and it had some numbers on it and so forth, and that was useful because she copied that down. What FP Jorn does with papers that I like, if you take because I got this watch as a matter of fact, my Chronomet Resonant from some guy on 47th Street. In fact, I got both my FP Jorns there and got great deals back in the day. But anyway, the CS had the little warranty card with it, but this one had nothing with it, not even the box. And so we went up to the FP Jorn boutique. They take it down in the basement where they have, I guess, magic cameras or something, and they take all of these pictures of it and turn it over and do all of this other stuff. And then about a month later, I got this envelope with all of the papers, and it was signed by FP Jorn, which was sort of fun. So instead of having the regular papers, I have ones that are both in French and English with all of the, like, this is a real McCoy and so forth. So that's one thing. That's perhaps why I don't worry too much about papers. Some watches I mean, like for example, on a Roger Dubuis, one of the ones I like, not the current one, but back when Roger Dubuis was making them, those watches. I mean, you finding the documents on those. So, I mean, if that's the worst experience you've had with Chrono 24, that's not bad. I had a bad one that I wasn't able to get the watch I wanted because of their bumped up from the price so much that it went over my limit that I set for myself on my checking account, so I wouldn't go crazy. Yeah, I tell you something, Jack. This is one that may actually do a better job in some respects. Is eBay. If eBay gives you this special box and it goes through an authenticator, and you get this card and it has all kinds of data on it. I guess they get from the watch, and it's not. I don't know who or if anybody accepts it, but it's certainly better than nothing if you're concerned about those things. But like I said, that's one thing I don't worry about. The watch is running well. That's good for me. Rolex is building a new factory to increase production in a larger building in New York City. They're going to be doing, Dom, they're going to be doing production in New York City. I know that they built, or they built it on Rolex land. They built that giant combination of Tudor and Kinesi next to each other. One's red, one's gray, and that's all on Rolex land. I don't know how they, where the money came from, or it was part of this Wuskoff or whatever his name, that foundation. But there's a sort of an interesting kind of thing. Oh, I see. Brian, thank you. So Bucherer bought Chanel, which was not doing well, by the way, and then Rolex bought Bucherer. So gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense now. Someone being stolen from someone without a box. Yeah, that's possible. That's another thing. I'm bragging about FP Journe, the way they do something. This guy on 47th Street, which, oh God, I keep forgetting his name. Federico. Federico was like, don't go there. They'll eat you alive. Got my best deals there. On 47th Street in New York, right off of 5th, between 5th and 6th. The guy, we went up to the FP Journe boutique, and they have a list of things of watches reported as stolen. And so the first thing that he did was to check out whether or not they're stolen. So while, I mean, having a box, they could steal a box too. So either that or buy them or make them, or, there are all kinds of ways to phony up stuff. It's the watch. If they have a watch that works well, I've gotten watches with fancy boxes that are not the dealer's box. I've also got one of the nicest boxes, incredible box, was the one I got from Fabergé. I mean, those guys know they're jewelers. They give you these things that just amazing. So like I said, that's me though. I know a lot of people worry about those things and are concerned with it. I would love to have one of the original FP Journe boxes, but those things cost almost as much as the watches. I needed a manual to adjust the bracelet lengths. No one could tell me if they were. Yeah, now that's important, Jack. I agree. Here's what I did with. Let me say something good about Longines. I got their equation of time watch, which was some big anniversary special edition. It had enamel dial, just a gorgeous watch, and all of this really good stuff about it, except figuring out how to determine not only the equation of time, but all of this other information that was on the Longines watch. And I didn't have the manual. And so I wrote to Longines and I said, "Hey guys, I don't have the manual. Could you help me out here?" Whoop, they sent me the whole thing, and I think it was in PDF form. And so I contacted the guys at the Longines Facebook page and said, "Hey, if anybody's interested, I have these documents." And so I think a lot more of those kinds of documents are going to be in digital format. Um, Papers per se, I don't know. That becomes more and more problematic, I think. I think those little squares with all the code on it, those things are becoming more and more common. Okay, Oliver. Yeah. Hey, watch puppy. Dominic, let's see. They had a building in Manhattan and knocked it down, rebuilding the same location. Oh, wow. I tell you, Dominic, sort of one I want to go to in Manhattan is the new Vassar and Constantin store. They had this great big thing that they built. Their old store was just like a couple doors down from the old F.P. Jorn store on Madison. Now F.P. Jorn's way down on the tip of the island, whereas most of them are on Fifth Avenue and Madison in that area. I am Oliver. I'm not sure that the whole thing is good for the customer or not. Personally, my Bucherer store in Dusseldorf is full with very arrogant staff. That's one thing I gotta say. My friend Fernando and I, we like every now and then we escape our wives and we go to New York City to have, we go to all of these watch stores and stuff and have a good old time. And you take the Metro North down there and I don't get dressed up. We're blue jeans and suspenders. Yes. So we have been treated wonderfully well in some of the snootiest places. And a tip: if you go into a store wearing your best watch, you'll get treated a lot better. You go in there with your swatch, you probably get the bum's rush. Hi, Equus Lucius, is that right? Hi, how are you doing? In addition to what's been said, could it be that it means better control their distribution in order to avoid money laundering, given the actual state of world affairs? Jeez. It could be. There are, I'm that's the one thing that I like the least of all is handling money that's not my money. I'm handling a whole lot of money I don't want to handle, and I can hardly wait. I think after pretty soon somebody else will be doing it, but that may have something to do with it. I'm not even sure. I don't know how to launder money. But I guess, apparently if you want to launder money, use somebody else's computer to find out about it, because a lot of times what they'll do, the police, if you're up for money laundering, then they'll check your I guess your contacts and see if you've been reading about it. Hey, Forbin, is the crown trying to become like Apple and control from manufacturer to retail? Could be. But they're not only Apple. Apple is maybe they did model it after Apple. Hey, Mark, you wear suspenders. I think they're made of silicon, not mine. A good advice, and that's what I do. If the staff has never seen a Lang Odysseus, it doesn't help. Well, if you're dealing with a staff who's ignorant of the watches that you're wearing, is probably I wouldn't have a lot to do with them, to tell you the truth. Um, they like if you go to some place like Cartier, they just have somebody specialized in that. And so if you go and talk about watches, in Harry Winston, when I went to Harry Winston, um, the gal there that I talked to was new, and so I mean, and she was there. She was supposed to be their watch person. I talked to somebody who had worked at Vacheron Constantin, and when I said deployant, she said, "Oh no, it's deployment." I said, "Boy, she doesn't know them. She's got something to learn." So I don't know the staff. I'm always really friendly to the staff, and I think if you consider the staff, I don't know about Dusseldorf and the snooty people there, but usually the people working there are at sort of they're just working folks. I mean, people working in retail stores are not. That's not a get rich quick scheme, I don't think. So they're just you treat regular people. You don't act like you're a big deal, but your watch tells you that you don't have to. Hey, Truman, no butcher in my country, so has no consequence for me or my AD. Yeah. Truman, what country is that? Who is TPG, Kent? I don't know who that is. All right. Richard, let's see. I buy from, what I do, I'll buy from anyone and anywhere except unless it's illegal or stolen. I think. I'm pretty sure. Ah, okay. Oliver, that's Corbin. Bill, is there a pay standard for watch salespeople? Do they work on commission and receive a relatively low? That's a good question, Forbin. Um, I was talking to Federico at one time, and he was sort of reminiscing on he was working at Piaget, and he was talking before China had this crackdown on watches, so people wouldn't buy watches and bring them back and use them for bribes. Um, Before that crackdown, he said that they would have a busload of people that would come to the Piaget store and just buy all the watches, so the sales staff there, I think, were doing really extremely well under those circumstances. You know, it's this is why I think that if I don't know how they have it set up. If you own a store, for example, you're an AD or you're just the guy who owns the store, whatever markup you can get is yours. But I don't know I mean, if you hire somebody, whether they're on a straight salary or they're on commission or what they're on. So that's a good question. Dusseldorf is a nouveau riche city in the on the Main. Okay, we have lots of those. New York's not one. They have different parts of town, I guess. Where we live, I live in a place of the nouveau poor. No, it's sort of a regular people. Norway. Okay. I don't buy retail. Yeah, I bought retail. I bought retail when I got my Harbring 2. It's the only way I could get it. I got it from a guy a guy named Martin Pulley in Philadelphia. No, I mean, the thing was that they were the only ones that have it. Take a look at an eBay or Chrono 24. You rarely see a Harbring 2 for sale. Oh, the urban gentry. Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess he's doing pretty well. Don't do that, Truman. You scared me. Okay, I see. Yeah, you're right though. Yeah, I think they do, Corbin. I think they, you know, I don't know. I've got see. This is why there was a split between them and the Geneva Seal Foundation. Geneva Seal Foundation has all of these things you got to have for Geneva Seal, and one of them has to do with the components what you can use, and silicon's not one of them. So no Geneva Seal. They got their own seal. That I don't know why that cracks me up. I mean, pretentious. I don't mind pretentious. I'm pretentious, but I got to get my own seal and have my bill seal on it, seal of approval. I don't know why that sounds just about the dumbest thing they could do. I'd have far more respect for them if they had no seal at all. Say, well, we had a beef with the foundation, the Geneva Seal Foundation, and they have what they want to do and what we want to do are different, so no seal. But to have their own Patek Philippe seal, you give yourself that's like giving yourself a medal. You know, give yourself a participation medal. I don't know. Spiromax silicon hairsprings developed with Rolex Siloxate. Yeah, Truman. Actually, there was triumvirate. Swatch, Patek Philippe, and Rolex got together, and bless Rolex for still using their what's it called? Their hairspring. I know what it's made of niobium and zirconium, parachrome. Their parachrome hairspring. Most of the men's watches. Now they came out with a new one, a new men's watch, a very nice one, I might add. Then they stuck one of those silicon hairsprings in that, and I think their Pearl Master, the women's one, they also had it in that. But for years now, all of the watches on the smaller women's watches, they used quartz because they couldn't get the kind of accuracy that they wanted using traditional mechanical. Here you go, Richard. No. Parmigiani, they don't have. They have the PF is simply stands for Parmigiani Fleurier. There is a there is something like a Geneva seal, but it's not by Parmigiani. They have their own foundation. See, the thing about the Geneva seal, you have to live in your watch has to be made in the canton of Geneva, and the one that they have for Parmigiani is they're in a different canton, and I forgot what the name of their special seal was, but it's not their own. The PF simply means Parmigiani Fleurier, and then on the other ones they have means something else. Hey Eric, I got myself harboring to Florian. Those just are wild. That's the only thing I can say. I was looking at. They had an interview with Rick on the guy Tim Mosso interviewed Rick on. He's got this great collection, but one of the things he showed, he has it was an FP Journe. Oh God, I forgot the name of it, but it was like a chronograph of some sort, and one of the dials was one of these. Those are wild. I'm glad you got it. Oh, and you got the oh my goodness, you got the RDC at Urdayer, the Vacheron Constantin. Wow, that watch is really something. That's just it's amazing. The thing about that watch is that you wind it backwards. I I couldn't figure out how to wind it. I thought what you had to do was, just get the little micro rotor going. But I finally talked to her. I said, no, you just wind it up, wind it backwards. Hi, Helena. Oh, good. I'm glad you joined it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes, guys, I get off track. Anyway, I am going to get in big trouble if I don't go back. So anyway, have a great weekend. Hope to see you guys next week. Take care.